Tattoo artists of Reddit, what was the weirdest, most disturbing tattoo a customer wanted? When I worked as a tattoo artist, a guy wanted us to tattoo his name on his infant baby because he put it as, "She's trying to say that he's not my son." We threatened to call the guard day because what the actual hell? We wouldn't tattoo anyone under the age of 18 even with parental consent, and we certainly wouldn't tattoo a baby. Garde before anyone asks Irish police. I have a friend that tattooed on herself the word spite onto her leg when she was 14, but anytime she wears socks, it looks like it says spit. It looking like spit is the least of the problems with that tattoo. My brother got his own name on his chest. I'm really not sure why. I went to high school with a kid with the last name Strong. On his 18th birthday, he got "Only the strong survive" in script across his chest. Strong was spelled wrong, because only smart people prevail. Not a tattoo artist, but the guy I went to for many years once told me that he had a customer come in 20 years old and completely sober and very serious, wanting him to tattoo birds flying out of her V up to her lower stomach. He told her he wasn't willing to tattoo genitalia to get out of it, and she said, "Okay, I'll take an infinity sign on the back of my neck instead." I'm sorry. What? I got a tattoo of Doodle Bob on my ass. While I was getting it, I asked the tattoo artist, "So what's the dumbest tattoo you've ever given someone?" His reply, "Honestly, probably this one." A friend of mine and I recently discussed getting Doodle Bob tattooed on ourselves. We ended up getting cheese instead, but I still love the idea of having Doodle Bob done, so that's awesome. I was apprenticing with my dad at his tattoo parlor, and on this particular day, I had nothing to do, so I was just cleaning and answering calls. A 50-something-year-old man came in wearing denim shorts and thongs, sandals, apparently, I hope, with a wife beater on and the most magnificent mullet you could imagine. He asked about finishing a tattoo that he had gotten in Thailand. I asked him to show me, and when he did, I couldn't even comprehend what was happening with it. It was a full back piece of a koala with one foot on the ground and the other on the fallen bottle of VB, holding a tattered Australian flag up in one hand and shooting an AK-47 into the distance with the other. The koala also had the Southern Cross tattooed across its chest. That is the most Australian thing I will ever read in my life. My wife is a tattoo artist. She had a woman come in and ask her to lighten up her lady parts. Okay, so this is either a metaphor or I'm scared. The client thought that they were too dark, and it's not a metaphor. After some talk, my wife agreed. They got everything ready, prepared, shaved, etc. She touches the woman's bits with a needle and she just screams. Can't do it. So this woman has a slightly pink little dot on her now. It's the weirdest. Not an artist, but the artist I see said he has a guy come in and get naked Disney princesses tattooed all over his body. Like, think topless Little Mermaid or naked Pocahontas, which I two thoughts I didn't need today, but thank you. My brother is a tattoo artist and refused to tattoo 2 small pot leaves above my other brother's thumbs. He later got it done by a friend. They look terrible and he wishes he had never done it. Also, he got a ski mask tattooed behind his ear. My brother said yes to that one because of how bad the pot leaves turned out. Okay, so wait a minute. Not only was the ski mask someone else's idea that he agreed to, the main reason, the specific instance in which he decided, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get that tattoo, is because the other tattoos were bad. The other brother is he's just so, this guy's just such what's the perfect way to describe? Your other brother is a few more tattoos and some hair dye away from being a SoundCloud rapper. That's it. Finally, a post I can comment on. Crazy Love 88 joins the battle. I had a pair of dominatrix sisters ask me to tattoo their live-in slave for his birthday as a surprise. It was their names in Chinese at the base of his clock. They had specifically requested me as I fit into the fetish category of the slave, being an East Asian lady tattooer. I was to be paid triple for my time, but had one request, that I tattoo him at their studio, dressed as a dominatrix while he was tied up bondage style. When I got to their location, it was really sketchy as it was in a random warehouse in a bad part of town, but once I walked through the red door, it was very tastefully decorated with cages hanging from the ceiling along with the chandeliers. They had me dress up in their clothes as they were the same size while the slave got ready in his gear, none the wiser. When he was ready, after some sort of ceremony where they whipped him for a while, they told him his birthday surprise. He was so excited that he was erect by the time I had my station ready. They used to be nurses, so they had the sterile equipment already, hence an easy setup. The ladies tied him up on a padded table and stretched out the area to be tattooed by weighing down his clock and balls with a rope and weights. After the tattoo was done, they thanked me for my services, paid me triple along with a hefty tip, and I was on my way. All in all, 10 out of 10 would do again. And you know what? 10 out of 10 would read again. Not a tattoo artist, but I went to school with a girl that got a human heart tattooed on her asshole and it says, "Eat your heart out." Real question is, did you? How do you think you found out about it? At my shop last year, we had an older lady come in and ask us to tattoo her eyebrows, not an uncommon request, even though we don't do cosmetic tattooing. But rather than regular brows, she wanted them to look like greyhound dogs running off her face. Because sometimes insanity is given permission to get tattoos. Not a tattoo artist, but walked by a guy at Coachella who had a rib tattoo of a guy jacking off standing atop a pile of dead bodies. How's the herpes doing? Not a tattoo artist, but I worked with a lady who had a picture of herself on the cross tattooed on her upper arm. Oh, and the tattoo self was naked, and she was happy because he made my toits bigger on it. One day, this guy comes in and asks for his fiance's name in big letters surrounded by hearts on his neck. It was supposed to be a matching tattoo, and his fiance would be getting hers after she left work. So as the guy is talking about his fiancée, he mentions her name. Everyone in the shop is dead silent. The fiancée is the crazy chick my mentor was friends with benefits with. Oh, that's a plot twist. They had such kinky sex. Cool. They had a legal document drafted that if something happens to the other during sex, the other person is not legally responsible for it. So that's the kind of kink we're talking. Good to know. They're already halfway through the tat. They have a small meeting of whether to finish it and tell him or just tell him before he's in too deep with the tat. They decide to tell him. My mentor takes him outside and yells at the owner to let him know that the body piercer is forcing women to use sex as payment for their pricing. Owner says bugger off. While I was getting tattooed, I asked my artist this same question. She told me a guy walked in and asked for a full back piece of a demon bending an old nun over and raping her, and for the nun to have huge feet, because why not mix kinks? Not an artist, but the guy I went to told me about someone who repeatedly came into the shop and only ever wanted sort of natural marks on his body circled. Nipples were circled, freckles were circled, moles were circled, so the guy just had a load of circles of various sizes on his body. One day he shaved off his beard, found a spot or mole on his chin, and came in that day to have it circled. If I recall correctly, the artist eventually turned him away and refused to circle anymore, because why would you want that many circles? My first thought was, wow, that's a great way to check for skin cancer. If it outgrows the circle, see a dermatologist. Oh, okay, that's why. Obligatory not a tattoo artist, thank you, you feel my pain, but earlier today my best friend got a tattoo of E.T. doing a line of coke off his long finger. She also has tattoos of Chinese symbols which literally translate to cheesy garlic bread. This girl memes. I went on a date with an artist, asked her this question. Her answer is a favorite story of mine to tell now. A girl came in on her 18th birthday. She was dressed super rich and talked like the most dense, basic white girl you've ever seen. We asked her what she wanted done and she says, I want a tattoo on my butthole. What do you want there? I want words around my butthole. Who talks like that? Okay, what do you want it to say? I want it to say, Dom's butt slut. Of course she did. Not an artist, but as an eavesdropping customer, a lady who was 8 months pregnant, I still have 4 weeks, it's fine. Oh, that's not a good start for a tattoo thread. Wanted her baby's due date down her spine. You know what, Seahorse? You asked the question I had on my mind. What if the baby was early or late? I don't have any weird, disturbing stories, But my coworker tattooed the inside of a guy's once. The guy had his pesos split down the head and he wanted it bright orange with either a butterfly or a ladybug. I don't know. Why are you asking me? He came in with it pre-wrapped in plastic filled with numbing cream. I don't want these thoughts in my head. My friend said that when they first started, he was trying to get a grip on the guy's unit and slipped. As a reaction, he quickly tried to grab it and his thumb went pretty deep inside the dude's... what's the scientific term? Hole. Once I saw this white lady with symbol 1 and symbol 2 done on her bicep. Separately, they mean love and beauty. Together, they mean vain. Not a tattoo artist, but heard this story last night at a party. One dude of my family is a firefighter. He takes shower fully naked with the other firefighter, except one dude that would always come in with underpants. They asked him why, and the guy replied that he got a tattoo on his ass that he wasn't too proud of. He didn't want to show it until one day he felt confident enough to take the shower fully naked and reveal the tattoo he was so ashamed of. Turned out it was a doing skate. What kind of wording is that? Not an artist, but my best friend is. He sent me a snap of a girl with a Batman logo above her vagina with the quote, "The Bat Cave." Is it trashy? A little bit, but damn if that's not hilarious. Is it trashy? Gurox, is it trashy? Let me answer that real quick for you. It's the Bat Cave above a woman's vagina. Hope I could help you out. I thought the location of the Bat Cave was supposed to be a secret. I have realistic nipples tattooed on my butt cheeks. Realistic nipples. The artist had a page of about 50 different pictures of nipples. I picked the ones I wanted and haven't regretted my crack rack since. Crack rack an official thing. I got chat get banged tattooed on my ass. I mean, I've always heard talk get hit, but this newer version. It's a tattoo that I want. I want made in Japan on my ass in red. And you know what? There's more context, but I think life is better without it. A friend of a friend who was blackout drunk and decided to get disrespectful down his left calf and down his right calf. I'm sure the tattooist tried to talk him out of it, but money is one hell of a drug. Not a tattoo artist, but my artist told me about a friend of his who blacked out his nipples and a guy who had a dream in which he had Lego figures as thumbs, so he got them tattooed. Folks, if you dream something, it really doesn't have to become a reality. There was a group of adults that walked into my tattoo shop for one guy to get a tattoo. At the last second, they changed their choice from a baby coming out of his ass to a dog on one of his butt cheeks. Definitely lost a bet. My artist always told me the story of when someone got a bloody metal hanger with the words "Mama tried" on their back. Oh no. Another separate story, person got Abraham Lincoln on their back, like full back piece. I had joked that whoever had sex with them doggy style would feel like John Wilkes Booth when he across their back. Not a tattoo artist, but a friend of mine got a tattoo of himself smiling and giving 2 thumbs up on his arse cheek. Why? God only knows. We had a guy who came into the shop monthly to get the word whore tattooed on him. Just H-O-R. Always in different sizes and fonts and script. Eventually we caved and asked what it was about. We assumed he just had a girlfriend named Whore. Turns out he'd misheard the name Thor and claimed to be a Norse pagan. We tried to tell him about the correct spelling, even showing him in books and online, and let me add this one in, maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that, big franchise. He wasn't having it. Saw him a month or so ago with whore tattooed across his forehead. God, ignorance is also one hell of a drug. This guy walked in wanting a tattoo on his and while I was tattooing it, he sharted and it got everywhere and I asked him to leave, but he wanted to get it done, so I asked him if he could go to the bathroom and clean himself up, and he got up and he left a streak of shit on the floor. It was green, by the way, and we had carpets at the time, and when he got back, I finished it and never talked about it again. Until now. I'm looking to become a tattoo artist. In high school, I knew a guy who got the inside of his lower lip tattooed, so when he flipped the lip open, you could read the word in lettering that was actually quite nice, pizza. So he's always got some in his mouth. Not a tattoo artist, but I know a guy who has appliances tattooed all over him. A microwave, a toaster, a blender, etc. He was planning on having them all connected to a power strip on his back. Oh, well, look, that would look really stupid, don't get me wrong, but at least he has a nice concept in mind. Once a kind of weird looking guy came into my store, LA, of course. He told me to draw in his arm a pic of her girl. It was Mia Khalifa. The sports analyst, right? Oh, water polo, you're a real sweet kid. You're real innocent. I was talking to a girl before who had Roman numerals tattooed on her chest. It was the date her and her dad got a DNA test. What? Not a tattoo artist, but as a joke, I gave myself a big-time Rush stick and poke. Oh, whoa. My mate organized the dare that he got the names of some mates tattooed on his ass, like 15 names on the right cheek, and the last guy to tattoo wrote his name on the left cheek, as in huge across the cheek. Not funny taking advantage of a mentally challenged like that. Damn. Just look up Snake Pit on Instagram. Folks, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news here. Don't look up Snake Pit on Instagram. I was the brave soldier who did this so that you didn't have to. Especially if you're eating. Again, don't do it. Not a tattoo artist yet. I'd love to learn one day, but people ask me for designs all the time. One day I got inboxed by a clearly fake profile asking if I could make a design of Anne Frank getting it from behind I'd like to hope that stands for, Adam Hicks, from Lemonade Mouth, but it's probably the German guy. It's probably the German guy. A David star in a woman's butthole, and if you're not a woman and you're seeing this, then you're gay around a dude's